Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Treading Warm Water, a proud part of the Bethel Clarion podcast network. That didn't take me 3 times to say. With me, as always, co-host Josh Towner, and applying and interviewing to be a tri-host, Zach Walker's back for the 5th time on the podcast. We're going to start off with Josh Towner. You have the floor, sir.
So this is a stupid take, and I know that. I started reading a book yesterday, and it opened with the scene that is played out. It's a trope that's played out too much. The grizzled detective wakes up in his bed, reaches for his alarm clock, and breaks the alarm clock. And we need to absolutely put an end to that trope's existence, because nothing takes me out of a story faster than someone fumbling around for their alarm clock and destroying it.
See, now, when Josh told me about this take, I immediately thought of those as seen on TV commercials where, like, the people go to open up the cabinets and all of the, like, Tupperware just falls on top of them and they're, like, throwing their arms around. I absolutely love that. That is my favorite, because I think if that person is too stupid to open up a cabinet, not even to open a cabinet, to put things in a cabinet, and that this device works better for them, I want to buy that device. That works. Same thing with the alarm clock. He breaks the alarm clock. I feel that. That hits me deep in my soul. He is upset he has to wake up. I love it.
So do we think that these grizzled detectives are breaking their alarm clock because the alarm clock is too hard to shut off? And it's like an as seen on TV ad for like the soft touch alarm clock. Like, the guy's not angry or anything. The alarm clock's just going off and he wants to shut it off, but it's way, way too difficult. So he has to break it. It's the only way. And he needs the soft touch. I think that would make it way better.
I'm not even totally sure about how the alarm clocks get broken. Usually it just ends up with, oh, the alarm clock was broken. Like, here, I have a little alarm clock right here. And I don't know how I would break this while laying in my bed. Like, this is a solid piece of plastic here.
Hey, Josh.
Yeah.
That clock is 2 minutes off, just so you know. Just so you're aware. So,
oh, really? I've got it as 1 minute fast.
Well, he's in the Chicago time zone, which is like 2 minutes difference.
Totally.
Yeah, about a 45-second delay here.
Do you hate the scene in Spider-Man when he wakes up after getting bit by the spider and is just like tearing his room apart because he has this newfound strength? Like, I just imagine you sitting in the movie theater just like fists clenched, like so angry that Peter Parker is all of a sudden strong.
You see, I think that scene has more merit than most breaking the alarm clock scenes, because that scene, he just got, superpowers. He's a hero now. He has no idea what he's doing with his powers. So I think it makes sense that he would accidentally overreact and break some things in his apartment because he's unsure of what his strength is. But for a detective who's probably woken up in that bed hundreds of times before, like, there's no way you're breaking the alarm clock. Or like,
how do you know that he didn't have a bad night last night? He's a detective. He lost his partner. Was there a prologue? Was there a prologue? You're assuming that he went to bed happily and that he's waking up. What if he had a muscle pulled in his back and he didn't sleep the whole night? What's the matter with you, Towner?
That would be an incredible driving conflict of an entire detective novel, is he has a pulled muscle in his back. Josh, I think your problem here is that you don't like it when fictional characters are stronger than you. You don't like it. Because you want to be able to break the alarm clock, but you can't because you're a little weak boy. But old grizzled detective and Spider-Man can do it, so that's why you hate them.
I'm really, it comes down to me. It is, sure, I guess I could be as strong as this grizzled detective, and I wish I could have the backstory. I would love to read the prologue of a book that leads up to starting the book with him breaking the alarm clock. Like what is it that happens before? Is it like the clicking and the internal mechanisms of the clock that just sets him over the edge? Like, that's the best prologue ever. Like, sign me up for that. But
I'm
I just don't understand the logic of breaking the alarm clock like that. Do you smash it? Like, I feel like you would have to hit it multiple times to actually get any damage done. Or if you go to swipe it off of the nightstand or whatever, usually the clock is plugged in and the cord will hold it in place. Like, I just don't understand the logic behind it. I think it's a trope that's just low-hanging fruit that people go for.
I'm graduating this May in 3 weeks now, or 2 weeks, whenever you're listening to this. I'm going to continue to go to Bethel just so I can take a short story writing class and write that story about how the detective was in a firefight. His partner died. He pulled a muscle in his neck. He can't really, turn his head at all. And he breaks the alarm clock because he can't see where it is. Just to prove you wrong.
How hard are you pushing the alarm or the snooze button that you break your alarm clock? Just fumbling about for it, though.
People want to hit that snooze. Also, is it ever established that he breaks it by hitting it? Because what I'm imagining is he's like one of those shifty detectives. He like sleeps with a bunch of tools or something. I don't know if detectives do that. But he wakes up and the alarm clock's going off and he's like had enough of it. So he takes a screwdriver out and he like meticulously undoes the alarm clock, gets into the inner mechanism, and then like reroutes a wire or like cuts one wire, and then that breaks it.
Is he MacGyver? Like, what are you imagining?
Yeah. Well, I'm imagining Josh Towner, so a man so weak that he can't break his own alarm clock is what I'm imagining.
Oh my God. Josh is going to wake up tomorrow morning. He's just going to start punching his clock.
I can do it. I can prove them wrong.
Here's another thing that I want to throw onto this. In this day and age, how many people still have an alarm clock on their nightstand?
I have one across my bedroom, so I have to get up and go turn it off. But 9 out of 10 times, I just hit snooze and go back into the bed.
See, I was bougie as a kid, so I had one of those Brookstone ones. Do you remember Brookstone at the Mall of America? Like the technology store that had the foot massagers. They had a clock that tilted back and forth on an axis, so it would beep, and then I'd flick it, and then it would turn it off. Or if you turned it towards you, it would snooze it. So I had one of those fancy ones. So I didn't have the old box one because I was a bougie kid, sleeping in my futon.
Yeah, that is
really living the high life there, huh?
Another thing about alarm clocks, it should be, this is like a whole different take, and we don't have to go into it. It should be illegal to have the alarm clock sound in any form of media.
Oh, for sure.
It should be illegal. It is the most triggering sound. I hate it so much. It's impossible not to seize up and cringe about it.
Wait, can we just be sure that you mean
wait, I want to hear more on that.
Hold on, do you mean this sound right here?
No, that was fine. It's like the classic, like what my alarm does is it like it's kind of sinister. It starts off really quiet, like beep, 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 and then it just grows to the loudest noise you've ever heard, and it just keeps going. But then when you hit snooze and then go back to bed, it starts off again with the loudest beep you've ever heard, and it's just the worst, and you like are jolted. So I think like anytime I hear the alarm clock sound, that on like a podcast, or it's always in movies or in commercials, it's like I always like kind of jolt because it's just I don't even think about it. It's just bad, and it should stop.
What I dislike are people that use it as like their ringtone. Or they're like a text like when they get a text message or a phone call, and it's that classic.
Crazy.
Like how do you appreciate? Like when I hear that noise, I like clinch up because it just irritates me.
Yeah, it's the
worst. And then it makes me want to break my alarm clock.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Zach, when you see a scene in a movie where the detective wakes up and his alarm's going off and he breaks it, do you get like some kind of small inner victory from that moment? Because you're like, I relate to that.
Yeah, because I don't like the sound of an alarm clock.
I don't know. It's more of a secondhand jealousy because I know you is more of what it is. Because I know you would be seething when you see a man with such impossible standards to meet.
I think when I think about this in like an animal perspective too, I think a dog could definitely break an alarm clock, but a cat couldn't. Just
Why-
proving again that Josh Towner is a cat. That's his spirit animal.
Why did you need to think of it in an animal perspective?
I
Now
actually think I would go the opposite there. I think a cat would be more likely to break an alarm clock because it is the more annoying thing to do.
No, a cat would get angry and talk about it on a Hot Take podcast because they're evil.
Sure.
All right, let's go around the table. Zach, where are you at with Josh's take?
I forgot. Okay, yeah, that's what it was. He doesn't like the trope. Yeah, I mean it's probably an unrealistic trope. I think there's some self-confidence issues here at the middle of this take. And Josh, you know that Bethel University has free counseling services, so you got to take advantage of those, man.
I think I've bashed on Josh enough this episode to where he's going to be angry for the next one, so I'll just leave it at I disagree. Towner, I'll let you close out.
I really didn't expect to get personally dragged so much for this take that I, from the top before I even debuted it, I said this is a dumb take. But anyways, yeah, it's an overused trope and it's one that's unrealistic. And being someone that generally overthinks everything, I'm then thinking, well, what kind of person is this that will willingly, break their alarm clock like that? Yeah. I don't like it.
Well, that'll do it for this episode of Treading Warm Water, a proud part of the Bethel Clarion Podcast Network. I said it right. Yes. We'll guys on the next one, whether you're watching on YouTube, Spotify, or iTunes. We appreciate your support. Stay healthy. We'll see you on the next one.